You do it every single day. You type a password to log into your email, your social media, your bank. But have you ever stopped to wonder what happens in that split second right after you hit enter? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain and dive into the secret life of your password. It's a hidden security process that stands between your data and, well, the entire world. So let's just jump right into the nightmare scenario, the one that keeps us all up at night. You see a news headline, a service you use has been hacked. Your heart sinks. And your first thought is probably, is my account safe? The answer to that question, believe it or not, comes down to one single thing: how your password was being stored. And this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? When hackers manage to grab a company's whole user database, what are they actually looking at? Is it just this perfect, neat little list of every username and password all ready to go? Or is it something else? Okay, so here are the two very different worlds that could exist. On one hand, if passwords are in plain text, which literally just means they're stored exactly as you type them, a breach is game over, instantly. But if they're hashed, your account actually has a powerful shield. This one technique, hashing, is the absolute bedrock of modern password security.
So what is this hashing thing anyway? It's really important to know it's not encryption. It's something totally different, and frankly, it's way better for protecting passwords. Let's break down how this one-way magic trick works. I want you to think of hashing like a super complex, industrial-strength blender that you can't put in reverse. You toss your password, let's say it's my secure password 123, into this blender. Whirr! Out comes this long, scrambled, totally unrecognizable string of gibberish. That's the hash. And here's the crucial part. It's a one-way street. You can never ever put that gibberish back in the blender and get your original password out. It's impossible.
And this whole system works because of three sort of magical properties. First, the same password will always produce the exact same hash. That's how a website knows it's you. Second, like we said, you can't reverse it. It's a one-way trip. And third, this one's wild. Even a tiny change, like changing one lowercase letter to a capital, creates a completely different unrecognizable hash. It's all or nothing.
But, of course, the story doesn't end there. Hashing on its own is really good, but it's not perfect. See, clever attackers found a weak spot, and that led to a really simple but totally brilliant upgrade to the whole process. So here's the problem. What happens when tons of people use the exact same password, like password 123 or QWERTY? Well, because of that first rule, same input, same output, they all get the exact same hash. And hackers know this. They've pre-calculated the hashes for millions of the most common passwords, and they keep them in these huge lists called rainbow tables. So when a database gets breached, the attacker just scans it looking for these repeating common hashes. If they find a match from their rainbow table, boom, they instantly know the password for every single user who was lazy and chose that one. It makes cracking common passwords ridiculously easy. The solution to this is just wonderfully simple. We add a salt. And no, not the kind you put on your fries. In cryptography, a salt is just a unique, random string of data that gets generated for every single user. The system takes this unique salt and mixes it in with your password before it gets tossed into that irreversible blender. And here's why that is so important. Now, even if 1,000 people all use the password 123, every single one of them will have a completely different hash stored in the database. Why? Because each of their passwords was mixed with a different unique salt. Just like that, the attacker's rainbow tables are completely useless. This simple little addition just builds a much stronger wall. Salting completely shuts down those rainbow table attacks. And maybe most importantly, it forces an attacker to go after every single password one by one by one. They can't just crack one common password and unlock thousands of accounts anymore. It's a total game changer.
Okay, so we've got hashing, we've got salting. We're looking pretty secure, right? But what about just raw computational power? What about a brute force attack, where a hacker just throws everything they've got at guessing passwords? Well, this calls for one more layer of defense.
The real enemy here is just pure speed. Modern computers, especially the ones hackers use, are terrifyingly fast. We're talking about testing billions of password combinations every single second. For them, it's just a numbers game. If the hashing process is too fast, they can eventually find a match through sheer brute force.
So, how in the world do you find an enemy whose greatest weapon is speed? This is going to sound completely backwards, but we make our own security process slow. on purpose. It's a technique called key stretching.
So here's how it works. Instead of hashing your salted password just once, the system hashes it. Then it takes that result and hashes it again, and again, and again, sometimes hundreds of thousands of times. Now for you, when you log in, this whole process is still just a blink of an eye. But for an attacker trying to guess billions of passwords, that tiny delay multiplies into years or even centuries of work. It makes a brute force attack totally impractical.
And that is why the specific hashing algorithm a company uses matters so much. Old algorithms like MD5 and SHA-1, they're dangerously fast. They're basically broken for storing passwords now. Modern systems use algorithms like decrypt or script, which were designed to be slow. And the current gold standard, the one you really want to see, is called Argon 2. It was literally designed to be a hacker's worst nightmare, slow and resource-hungry.
All right, we've gone through hashing, we've added salt, and we've stretched it all out to slow down the bad guys. So let's put it all together into the definitive security playbook that every company should be following.
Here it is, the modern standard. You start with a strong, slow algorithm like Argon 2. You make sure every single user gets their own unique salt. You set a high cost factor, that's just the fancy term for how many times you repeat the hash. And of course, you layer all of this with things like multi-factor authentication. This whole checklist is designed to make sure that even if a database is stolen, your password remains safely locked behind an enormous wall of computational work.
And all of this brings us to the single most important idea to take away from all this. A truly secure system never, ever needs to know your actual password. It doesn't store it, it doesn't decrypt it, it only needs to verify it. When you log in, the system just runs your attempt through that same salt, hash, and key stretching process and simply checks if the final result matches the gibberish it has on file. And that's it.